Do as I say. Give me a disgusting helmet. That's not it. Try again. Oh shit! Trying to hit me and hit me. Hello, sir? Hello, sir? Sir? Sir?
It's fine. What's the worst that can be? Oh, fuck, cunt. Did not work at all.
Why, hello. How's everybody doing? Whew. Alright, here for story time. It's not even that good of a story. I just got lost, that's all. I lost my bike. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay. So I went to see Woburg and Turi because they were here in Queensland. So I went into the city. The place where I was gonna park right outside the hotel, because there's like bike specific parking lot there, it was full, so I just sort of rode around a little bit and then found a place to park, and then I parked, and then I took a picture of there was like a placard on the wall right where I parked. I took a picture of that so I could remember my way back to the bike. We went and hung out, we got some coffee, we did a fucking escape room, it was cool. We hung out for a while, that was great, whatever. And then it wasn't a long walk back, right? It's only fucking 10 minutes at most. There's like 1 kilometer walk from where their hotel is to where my bike was. So they're like, oh, fuck it, we'll go see the bike as well. And so they walk with me. And so we went for a little walk. And after about 10 minutes, we get to this park, and I'm like, I've seen this park. I know this park. I should be here by now. I should be here by now. This is where I parked, and I could not find it. And we even stopped in this park, this little, just this little 1 block park. We even stopped there. Turu was looking at some statues. We took a few photos. And then I was like, I don't understand how I'm not here. I swear this is where I parked my bike, but like there's no parking spots here. The building that I took a picture of isn't here. Pull out my phone. We look up the state library that is on the placard, and it's 15 minutes away and over a river. I did not cross a river. So I'm like, well, that's not right. It also only took me like 7 minutes to walk from my bike to their hotel. So I'm like, it's not over the river, and it's not 15 more minutes away. It was like right here. I swear to God, it was right here. So we end up walking about 10 more minutes down the same road with me just going, where the fuck is my bike? What have I done? And eventually we figure out where it is. And we walk all the way back to the park that we were at when I first got confused. And from where we were sitting, you could just see my bike through the gates on the other side of the park. I was just on the wrong road connecting to that park. It was, you could actually see a bit of the white on my bike from where we were sitting. It was just, so we walked 10 minutes out and 10 minutes back, and then just had to go through the park to the other side. And it was right there. Dude, where's my bike? Right? The picture you took so you could find your bike again. Okay, no is a good picture. It was a good idea. How am I gonna do that? Hold on. No, it was a good idea. When I first got off my bike, the first thing I did was take a picture of something that would easily remind me where my bike was. Right? So that I could walk back to it. Makes sense. Next to my bike, there was... What the fuck? He could have marked on Google Maps or something. Sure. I could have done a lot of things. I wish I did do a lot of things. Where did I just fucking put it? Here it is. I just took a picture of this placard on the wall. Because I was like, that's fine. And right next to it, you can't see in this picture, but right next to it is the front door. No, right next to it is literally like the front door to walk inside. And so I was like, oh, I'll just look for the State Library of Queensland and walk back to it. That should be good. I don't think that's been the State Library of Queensland for over 10 years. It moved to the other side of the river, like a 15-20 minute walk away. I don't know what fucking building this is now, but it isn't that. But I didn't know, and the placard's still on the wall, and I just thought, I've got the... And guess who's turned off location services on his photos? Well, of course I have. I upload photos to the internet. I don't want all the metadata to pinpoint my exact location when I take a picture of my dog and put it on Discord. In my home. Right? Okay, time to look for patch notes. if they can't through why. Look, I think that picture should have been fine. That picture should have been fine. Did anyone else see Gazzy asking chat what turkey slapping meant? I'll show him. Don't worry. Did you take a picture of the entire building? It wouldn't have helped. What I could have done was taken a picture of the park that was literally across the road, that had giant statues in it that would have been really obvious, or the fact that I was parked 2 meters away from an intersection that had 2 signs with the names of the street on them, that I could have just taken a picture of both of those together and been like, I'm on this corner. There were so many things I could have done, but without the foreknowledge that this isn't the library anymore, and that it hasn't been for a long time, in my mind, I was just like, oh, that'll be the State Library of Queensland. And when I go to go back, I will just look for the State Library of Queensland and then walk back to it. That should have worked. Anyway, got our steps in at least. And a significantly more fun escape room than I've done in the past. Well, the funny bit, the funniest bit to me is when we got to that park, I stopped and sat down and was like looking at the picture and trying to figure out where it was, because I knew that I'd walked far enough that I should be at the bike by now, but I just couldn't figure out why it wasn't here. I was just like, why? I know I've walked far enough. This has been enough time at my walking pace. I should be at my car or my bike. I should be at my bike, and it just wasn't here, and I didn't know why. We legitimately spent more time looking for where I parked my bike than we did getting out of the escape room. By an tag, I don't need to. It's a BMW. It's got an app, and I just hadn't fully connected everything to the app yet because I had never needed it. And one of the things the app does is track all of your previous trips and give you a button for when's the last time I had a GPS location for this bike. Like, when's the last time it was on? And where is it to bring you back to that bike? I just had never set it up. I did that when I got home, before I sat down, before I had a shower, before I did anything. I got home and immediately set up the BMW app to work. It's on now, so it can't happen again. Even no matter what, if I forget it, it doesn't matter, because I'll just open the BMW app and be like, where's my bike? And just walk back to my bike. But it wasn't on this time. Alright. Everyone leaves his phone with it. I am never without my phone or wallet. I've never left my phone or wallet anywhere. I've never forgotten my phone or wallet. I can't leave the house without both my phone and wallet. There's an amount of weight in both of my pockets that feels correct, and I can't leave without it. It's never happened. I am in no risk of doing that, because I cannot leave without my phone and wallet. I can't. I'll probably start whenever Baylor starts. If it goes poorly, at least I'll have company. Yeah, that's not a good plan. I only get lost in the actual city too. As soon as I leave the city, I know all the streets. I'm good. I can get home. And even if I don't quite know what street I'm in, I know what direction I'm in. Right? Like I can just be like, where am I facing? Okay, well, I need to go northeast, so that way. So I'll just like head on roads in that direction until I see something I know. And I will see something I know. I will not get lost outside of the city. I don't use the GPS and I don't get lost outside of the city. I know all of these roads. The city is ridiculous. Right? The city is ridiculous. There's so many like one-way streets and there's like streets on angles and fucking, it's just all weird shit and you can't like go the same way twice and like everything's fucking windy and crooked and wrong. It's a really poorly built city. It's not like Melbourne. You can't get lost in Melbourne. You know what the best city to walk around with was? It was Adelaide. It's just a fucking straight grid. It's just a grid and everywhere was two-way streets. Oh, Perth. Perth is also a grid. I've been to Perth too. It's just a fucking grid. You miss your street, just turn left 3 times. There you go. We'll get together and then let's make some roads. Well, it's one of those towns that so of all of it's one of those towns that wasn't a main city. It was just it didn't get built with the intention of being a main city. It just became a main city. And so it grew over time and shit just got added on everywhere in whatever in whatever order, and it doesn't make any sense. I think the memory time 17, Jesus. Let me pass on the way to built to discover protest gatherings. Right. Okay, Melbourne is the worst place to drive, but I don't even think it's because of the roads. Yeah, the roads can be a little confusing. Melbourne is the worst place to drive because of Melbourne drivers. They're fucking psychotic. Inconsiderate, psychotic bastards. You think Sydney had them beat? Nah, I think Sydney's better to drive in than Melbourne. Brisbane is, while confusing and the roads don't line up, Brisbane has Brisbane people, which means if you put your blinker on, everybody lets you in. Nobody's in a hurry to get anywhere. Everybody's relaxed. Everybody's chill. It's the reason I like Brisbane so much is that everybody here is relaxed and nobody is in a hurry to get anywhere. And everybody is fucking friendly. Like they would just get let in. There are no. I had to adjust in Sydney or Melbourne to, you can't just put a blinker on. If you put your blinker on, they'll close the gap. They'll be like, oh, there's fucking room there. They'll close that gap so that they can't get in. Find another place, fuckwit. And whereas in Brisbane, if you put your blinker on first, people will just make a gap for you. No one's in. Fuck that guy, right? I refuse to drive. That city is an absolute war zone. Yeah. On the bright side, that's the first time I've taken my bike on the highway. It goes really well. It has quite a bit of power in it, more than I thought, more than you would expect out of a scooter, that's for sure. And it was pretty easy to get around the city on it. So I like that. Okay. All right, time to start reading. I guess we'll just start with the end game stuff. We don't need to know. I assume everything in here we've already read. You could probably start with the ascendancy changes and read through the rest later. Yeah, all right, let's do that. Acolyte of Chalupa, the Enter the Breach skill now grants leech 20% of your maximum life instead of 15, and leech 20% of your maximum mana instead of 15. Yes, doesn't matter. Trash still. Wording Into the Breach has been updated to clarify that the behavior relates to Flames of Chula. Sure. Into the Breach now applies modifiers to Remnant pickup range. Modifiers to Remnant pickup range to the range at which Flames of Chula can be seen. This is purely a visual change. Okay, so it's just showing you them further away. Okay, cool. Whatever. Vitality Siphon now grants 20% of spell damage leech's life, previously 10. I'm pretty confident this is still a nerf because they really fucked leech for a lot of people, but specifically for like spamming spells. But only having one instance of leech now. We used to have 35 to 50 instances of leech at 10%, and now we've got one instance of leech at 20%. This is still going to be rough. That's still going to be real rough. It might be okay. I don't know. That might be enough. That might be enough. I don't think so, though. The only reason it might be enough is because we did already have way too much leech. So it might be okay. All right, so the Chronomancer changes we've already seen. Oh, Temporal Rift skill has a cast time of 0.1 instead of 0.5. That's cool. Well, granted by the passive has been reworked. It is no longer a curse and has a 2-second cooldown. So the second you hit damage, the debuff now displayed and now instantly culls enemies. Okay. Curse effectiveness no longer applies to this skill, meaning unique enemies have the same effectiveness as previously, while enemies are less. Okay, whatever. Buff duration is now 12 seconds. Okay, sure, whatever. Gemling. Lose a random mote when you're hit. Yeah, so nothing new there. We did that. Pathfinder's getting changed. Overwhelming toxicity. Notable passive now grants 50% less poison duration instead of 35. That's rough. The running assault passive notable now grants 30% less movement speed penalty, previously 50. Fuck off. Ritual obsessive rituals now grants 50% less armor and evasion rating, previously 35. Ah yes, because armor and evasion, those were problems. Those were actually quite strong. What are you fucking talking about? Just go energy shield. Anyway. Alright, well, let's go back to the top and have a look. let's get back to the top and start reading. Okay, so we don't need to read through. We don't need to read through this. Everything before the ascendancy changes was in the content reveal. Fantastic. Yeah, so it's Delirium, Breach, Ritual, and Fate of the Vargoing Core, which I guess they're going to explain a little bit. It really wants me to hit things with a stick. They do, and they really want you to do it slowly and to hit each individual thing with a stick, which is just not what we want. Impossible to defend. Okay, so we knew that. Prevents the snake strategy. Just didn't call in the reveal. God damn it. Do I have to read all of them? Each mouse has 12 nodes for which can be selected. Aha. So one of them is unlocked by clearing a corruption nexus. One of them is unlocked by visiting a campsite slightly southwest of your starting location. Completing an anomaly map near the starter location. Okay, so like those are all like pretty free and you're gonna get them very early. Cool. And then you'll have to do master missions to level them, but there's only 3 masters and it doesn't matter because we're just going to take the one that has 1 extra portal so that we can play the game without having to hate ourselves, because it's literally the only option for anybody with a brain. Anyway, an ancient god data to uncover. There's a new hub area. I won't take it if there are extra portals on the tree instead. You're right. If there's some other way to get extra portals. Still ain't only having 2 portals. Yeah, but only having 2 portals is significantly better on your cognitive load. The problem is exhaustion. When you only have a single portal, then you have to be on edge and paying 100% attention like you would in hardcore all the time. Every single map, all the time. The cognitive load is so high that you can be mentally exhausted. When you have 2 portals, you get to just relax and run a bunch of maps and just have fun. And when you die the first time, then go, ooh, all right, for the rest of this map, I gotta lock in and pay attention, right? And you can be like, okay, for the rest of this map, I'm now locked in. I'm paying the most attention I can pay. This is now important. You finish that map and then you go back to relaxing. Right? And that's fine. Having some times when I have to pay a lot of attention, good. Right? Having it be 100% of the time, too high on the cognitive load for me. I get exhausted playing the game. It's not fun. It's stressful. I don't want stressful. I don't want it to never be stressful. I don't want everything to be easy, but I don't want my generic mapping to be the stressful part. No. What do you mean? Okay. Oof. The XP penalty eventually has a similar effect to stress living past a certain level. Yeah, but at least that has options to mitigate. Like, you can just buy those omens that like alleviate most of the penalty for death. And if you're like level 98 or whatever, you just buy a few of them and have one in your inventory. And like, so there's a thing you can do to mitigate that. So it's not as bad. Okay, whatever. There's a set of 10 ancient emotions you can drop. Oh yeah, timeless jewels that are not. Yep. Some non-amulet delirium uniques now drop with a raven touched modifier, allowing them to be instilled. I don't remember that. Now I want a list of delirium uniques. Anyway. I'm not going to bother reading through that. It's fine. It's awkward to me, so I don't want to find it either. I don't love it. Like just holding an omen in your inventory. I usually only do it when I'm level 99 and PoE 1. But like, at least there is a thing to do about it. Whereas like the only thing to do about not having enough portals is to literally just run your map with like 4 modifiers on it or something, which is fucking terrible. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean don't run good maps that have mobs in them? Like, fuck all the way off. It might be like the same kind of problem, but it's like a 2, whereas having only 1 portal is like a 9 on that scale of annoyance. At least for me. Fate of the Val moving core. Blah blah blah. Reward rooms granted by the console after defeating the architect have been significantly improved. More variety to unlock in addition to upgrade rewarding existing ones. Sure. I mean, it mostly sounds like they've just fixed the snaking problem and like, you know, made the temple like what I thought it would be like the first time, where you like make some good rooms and run them and then kill the boss at the end and hope to get loot. Some of the possible outcomes from applying Vol cultivation orbs to uniques have been updated. I'm gonna need more information. What the fuck do you mean? The items now have a maximum stack of 5,000 when stored in the wildcard slots. Hey, here's an idea. Since they're fucking permanent currency, how about we don't fucking do that? How about we just don't put them in the wildcard slot since you've just put them in the game permanently? Just give me a fucking slot for them. Give me a slot for everything. Anyway. This was a series of really unique stuff. Ew. What is that currency even? Just like the double vowels and things. You can now roll 60 to 100, previous 100 to 200. The Covenant can now roll only up to 25% life cost efficacy, previously 50. Really? The Hateforged gloves can now roll 30 maximum rage if you used a skill that requires glory. Previously 12 seconds, up to 5 times. Oh, previously 12 5 times, now just 30 flat. Ew. Raspit Globe unique focus now only rolls up to 15 instead of 20. Okay, you're really making things cost a lot more life. But you've really quite gutted Life Leech. Blood Mage in shambles so far. The Shackles of the Wrench unique gloves can no longer roll elemental ailments other than freeze you inflicted back at you. Instead, now be able to roll 10 to 15% increased damage per curse on you. Okay, is there the chest that makes you able to curse yourself with a random curse every totem you put down? Does that exist in this game? How am I self-cursing with like every curse in existence to get that? And then it's only 15% per curse? Soul Mantle, that's the one. Does that exist here? Okay. The Vertex unique helmet can no longer roll +2 to 4 level of all skill gems. Now it rolls +3 to 5 level of all curse skill gems. Yo. Okay, sure. Invitation. Omens no longer drop below 65. Modifiers to the number of chests found now apply to the chests found in Abyss. They also apply to the chance to find an abyssal depth. They're also apply to the chance to find an abyssal depth. So the chance to find an abyssal depth does not decrease with more chances in the air. I don't really know what that fucking means, but okay. Oh, you can now use currency from your stash to purchase items from expedition vendors. You mean the normal thing? You mean the normal thing? Okay, cool. Ooh. There are no more recombinators. You know what? Fine. I never used that anyway. You can now zoom out slightly further on the Atlas screen. Huge. There are now 2 versions of each pinnacle boss, the quest version and the infinite farm version, such as primary, secondary, and tertiary. As such, primary, secondary, and tertiary calamity fragments can no longer be obtained. Slightly? Like, thanks? Okay, but when GGG say slightly, it's usually quite impactful, actually. And usually when they say massively nerfed this thing or massively buffed this thing, it's like not that impactful. Whenever they say slightly, I'm like, yo. Tablets of the same type may now be used together to increase the amount of the league content that is spawned. The specific of this is different for each type of content. In some cases, adding multiple tablets will increase the size of a single encounter, while in other cases, it'll increase the number of encounters spawned. Nice. Each empty tablet spot now contributes to the amount of random non-tablet spawned league content in the area. This means that if all are empty, you will only see the league content from the... This means that if all tablet slots are full, you will only see the league content from the tablets you are using. This intent is to change it to make sure that you don't need completed atlas trees for these you did not intend to run. Okay. This also gives us like a proper ability to actually focus on content, which is something PoE 2 was missing a lot. I think this was in the announcement, but it was missing a lot because like, yeah, you could spec into breaches and use breach tablets, but you're still really running everything all the time. Every single person's running everything all the time. And like, yeah, you might have been using breach tablets, but like you were doing everything. Like that's just, you were doing everything, just a bit more breach. And everyone was doing everything. And that meant that the difference in farming strategies really wasn't that fucking big. And it all kind of felt kind of a little too samey. So I actually love that. That might help a lot. Waystones must now be identified in order to activate them. Okay. You can use orbs of chance on tablets, sure. Some items and content now require you to specialize in them through the including exceptional items, fracturing orbs, a basic and overseer precursor tablets. Tablets no longer used on maps that cannot have extra content, such as unique maps. Cool. Cool. You can't drop a fracture orb until you decide to let yourself, yeah. Lowered the base chance for essences, auxiliary spirits, shrines, strongboxes, summoning circle, rogue exiles appearing on maps somewhat due to the much larger increased rate now on the atlas tree. Okay, sure. Because it happens to be similar to the type of... Sure. Orbs. It could be part of the pick your poison node, so it could be like get fracturing orbs or get exceptional items. It could be. The following modifiers can no longer roll. My dude, I don't know what any of those are. You think I've read a single map name in the entire time I've been playing PoE 2? No, I've read what the modifiers do. What are you talking about? What is this? Whatever. The following modifiers that were suffixes are now again. I mean, that's chance to poison. I'm pretty sure. Couldn't tell you what the names are in PoE 1 were either. No, neither could I. Yeah, twinned. I know twinned because we looked for that off for different strats every now and then. Twinned comes up, so I knew that. And we know like Nemesis and Bloodlines because those have come up as like, you know, things that we've had to do. No longer causes them to have increased fill, no trees build up, shock chance, or whatever. It now causes monsters to have increased elemental ailment application. Okay. Has been updated. They now provide more monster effectiveness, pack size, and item rarity, monster rarity, or stone drop chance, depending on the modifier. Multiplicative with other sources such as... I mean... this is probably good, but anytime you've given me monster effectiveness, pack size, or item rarity, or monster rarity, and told me it's multiplicative, you've made rarity on my character even more important, unless they nerf rarity later in these patch notes. But just keep an eye out for even more rarity. Access now also provide... oh, modifiers to pack size now also provide a chance for additional rares to appear in rare monster packs. Yay! The only mobs that matter. Rares. Fantastic. Monster rarity is a new stat available that affects the chance for magic or rare monsters and the chance for additional modifiers on rare monsters. Nice. Was a rare monster of Nemesis? Yes, but that's okay because this is the mod that now does that job, and it's linked to a bunch of different modifiers. Instead of having to roll for Nemesis, you could now roll for anything that gives monster rarity and pack size, for instance. Or just monster rarity and rarity. Anyway, lines that include sources of increased number of rare monsters or increase the number of magic monsters have been updated to only display the number at the header of the map and not to be displayed alongside the explicit modifiers. I don't really understand what that's going to do, but he halved the bonus to quantity of items dropped and experience gain provided by monster effectiveness. Okay. Omen of chaotic and omen of chaotic quantity and chaotic monsters have been inverted. Instead of guaranteeing the new modifiers are of their type, they instead prevent the modifiers from being their type. Okay. This is the top instead of being... oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Up to 3 omens can... what? Hold on. Added an omen of chaotic effectiveness while this item is active in your inventory. The next chaos orb will replace all modifiers on a waystone with modifiers that do not grant monster effectiveness. Okay. Up to 3 of the above omens can be used simultaneously. I am curious as to what a map looks like when you can't roll rarity, you can't roll quantity, you can't roll chaotic monsters, and like what's left? What's left? I don't understand. But okay. Halved the damage is extra granted by the following shrines. Okay. That's how you roll the cow level. Nice. Completion of fixed locations on the atlas is now shared with party members. Sure. There's more varied content in the atlas. Map size of the content indicators. With the addition of more varied content in the atlas map, the size of content indicators has been increased by 50%. Waystones have received new 2D art. Is that patch note worthy? We do this every single league in Pee-wee World. What is going on? No, do we? We used to. Do we still? Actually don't remember. Campaign replayability. We don't have any. To improve how long it takes, blah, blah, blah. We've done a lot of that. Yep, cool. Oh! Some areas throughout the game have been shortened. Remove the second Dreadnought area in Act 2. Oh my god, that's so good. Oh my god, that's so good. This was the same zone twice. This is the same zone twice. There was just never any need for this ever. You run the zone and then you run the zone again with the boss at the end. Like, fuck off. It's also one of the worst zones, if not the worst zone in Act 2 for sure. Area order in Act 3 has been somewhat rearranged to make progression smoother. Sure. The waterway levers have been turned into pressure pads that you simply need to walk over. And the final part of the lever has had the water pre-drained. Yo! Monster density in the second half of the campaign has been reduced, especially in the interludes, to allow getting through these areas more quickly. Okay. My hot take is that the interludes are the 3 best acts in PoE 2. The interludes feel good and fun to run, and the rest of the campaign's trash. How do I put Balor at 1.25 speed while live? You don't. I intentionally slow everything down by about 25% because otherwise I lose everybody who's not fucking ADHD. Most of them have much rest you can just walk and run through. Yeah, I love them. Okay, player changes. Bleed damage on players no longer increases while the player is moving. This does not affect bleeds players apply to monsters. Interesting. Your maximum runic ward is now added to your starting honor when beginning a trial. Okay. The defenses keyword is no longer used. Existing uses of the word defense now explicitly refer to armor, evasion, and energy shield to make it clear that these modifiers do not apply to runic ward, resistances, block, or other forms of protection. Sure. That's whatever. Good. This is crazy. Only a single leech instance per resource, life, mana, or energy shield can be applied at a time. When multiple leech instances are active, only the one with the highest recovery rate will recover you until it expires, after which the next one will apply. This is crazy. I don't think you realize how bad leech has gotten. There is now a limit on the maximum amount of damage a hit can be considered to dealt for leech. This hit that deals less than 40,000 total are unaffected. If a hit would deal more than 40,000 total damage, it is treated as dealing only 40,000 damage for purposes of leech calculation. The value of each damage type in the hit is scaled down evenly to reach its limit. This means that extremely high damage hits stop improving leech past a certain point, but increases to your leech percentage will always increase the amount of the resource you are gaining. I mean, they've definitely made leech real simple. This is weird. This is something PoE generally has shied away from, putting just hard caps on things of just this can never have more than this number, we've decided, is a very Diablo thing to do. Like, you're only allowed to have this much movement speed. Get it however you want. But this is it. We're limiting it. PoE has historically not hard limited things. We've always been very encouraged to min-max the shit out of stuff and, you know, get to disgusting levels of things It feels very weird to be intentionally limited like that. At least from this company. That's an odd, it's just an, I'm not even saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's an odd thing to get from grinding your games. An arbitrary hard limit of just you functionally won't get anything past this point is not something they typically do. Usually actually quite the opposite. The formula of chance to deflect has been adjusted to provide better scaling with investment into deflection, with a cap of 95% chance to deflect. Again, all right. The new chance to deflect is 150 times 1A by A plus, where A is the accuracy tack and D is the defensive rating. A linear path that gets rewarded for a higher investment. 1 minus A as the accuracy with, okay. Okay, so investment into deflect is good. Blind is significantly more important because changing this value got way more important. So definitely if you're a, I mean, you kind of always wanted blind if you're an evasion / deflect character anyway, but this changing that value is significantly more important. It also means if you're an evasion / deflect character, you really actually do need to watch out for the map mod that says accuracy increase, because that's going to matter way more. Like the flat accuracy increase or the % accuracy increase modifier on maps is going to be way more noticeable. Unless that was one of the ones removed, which I don't know because I don't know the name of it. Because who the fuck would know the name of the accuracy mod? Anyway. Parry, shield block, and resonating shield no longer delay heavy stun build up from decaying. Okay, good, sure. Melee attacks can now only apply splash damage once per damaging area. Some attacks create multiple damage areas during use. For example, whirling assault creates many damaging areas around you. Yo. Melee in shambles. You know what? You're right. Melee was clearly way too strong. I fuck all the way off. What are you talking about? These poor people who really enjoy bringing sticks to gunfights just getting hard railed right now. Has anyone checked on Khan to make sure he's okay? Just wondering. You should have heard Khan today. He was not okay, right? I just like, they need to be checked on. When minions are removed due to resource change such as weapon salt, younger, newer minions are now prioritized for removal over older ones, which avoids wasting minion cooldown abilities unnecessarily. Sure. Minions affected by the last grass support or Tekrod's revenge lineage support, and totems affected by that other thing can no longer die during the effect from taking further damage exceeding their maximum life. Isn't that already what those did? Isn't that already what they did? Isn't that the only thing that those do? Support skills that create persistent minions. Choosing those minions to fight when they have been fatally wounding, dying after a short duration. Or when they take further damage exceeding their maximum life. I don't remember that line ever being there. That I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever read that line, and that might explain some of the bad times I've had with minions. This actually might be a really good change. We'll have to see. Stats worded as when you collect a remnant no longer give you the benefit of these stats when an ally shares the effect of a remnant with you. Okay, sure. Updated the name of buff that Trinity grants to Affinity, as Resonance is the name of a Keystone passive. Okay, but you know what else though? Resonance is the name of the Trinity buff in PoE 1 and has been the name of the Trinity buff for the last 4.5 or so years that we've had Trinity. So why don't you rename the Keystone passive and leave the name Resonance with Trinity as it's always been? Why? 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 That's no longer inherently lost when you attack. No property of... Okay, sure. Same problem I have with renaming all these goddamn sports. Yes. Like, just give me lesser multiple projectiles. Like, it doesn't need to be called Scattershot. It just doesn't. Give me LMP back. Right? Like, I don't... Like, we're in the same world. Name them the same thing. Anyway, whatever. Introducing, okay, yeah, cool. The two new classes, which I'm very tempted to start the Spirit Walker. Very tempted. It's multi-shot, actually. Sorry. What was Scattershot then? But I thought it was Scattershot. What's Scattershot? Oh, that's right. It was called Scattershot, and then it got changed to multi-shot. And both times it was just LMP. Also, what the fuck is that? Where did this come from? Actually, does anyone know where that comes from? Anyway. Next. Ooh, new lineage supports. Okay, so no information on what any of them are, but a bunch of new lineage supports. I do love that. Please put in more of them. That's great. Barracks Grip, Barracks Pass, Barracks Respite, Brutus-led Sprinkler. That one is exciting. There's also a way to give your strength to minions, but I don't know what I would do with that. Anyway. Shadow Ninetails, Duality, there's Facebreakers. Joffrey's Sanctuary. Interesting. Clearly getting the taming right. I mean, you would expect the taming to be there if those 3 rings are there. Loreweave. We theorized about Loreweave. Because I think Chad's noticed it first, or at least here, that there were like rings hanging off that chest in the video. And we were like, that's Loreweave for sure. And then Mage Blood, which we have no idea what that does. But, yep, Mage Blood was in the announcement. First one to get a Mage Blood picks the price. If I'm the first one to get a Mage Blood, whatever it does, it goes on. Whatever it does, it goes on. That's mine. Okay, we have ambient music now. It's the D2 soundtrack, and I often run it while we're reading patch notes, so that there is background ambience. There, I like. Nice. All these active charms, but they have negative values. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it's gonna be. Opportunity is an assassin item from League of Legends. Don't know what that's doing in there. Split personality, we know that one. We know voices. Stuff is a calamity skill, right? Okay, added 8 new idols that are exclusively from monsters possessed by Asmeri spirits. Yo, who is it? Who is it? Give me a name. Who's the one that loves ghosts so much that they've somehow stayed in PoE 1 for the last decade, despite no one liking them at all, despite it being the most garbage mechanic you've literally ever made? Who has such the hard on for ghosts that despite it being literally the worst mechanic in PoE 1 for 10 years, it was also one of the first mechanics ported to PoE 2 when it should have been abandoned ages ago, and now is receiving more buffs? Who is it that's so in love with ghosts that they refuse to let them go? Let them go. I know whoever that is, I know it's your baby. She's dead, Jim. She's been dead for a while. You're beating a dead horse. Get rid of this mechanic. It's trash. It's been trash forever. Get rid of it from PoE 1 while you're doing it. Nobody likes it but you. Added a new Minion Splash and Minion Splash 2 support strike. Ooh. Create minions which cause strikes, causing them to have melee splash. Do I care? Do I care? I mean, maybe? Maybe. The fragment stash tab is now available. Yay! I mean, so here's the thing about Minion Melee Splash is Minion Melee Splash as a idea right now, like getting put in, is potentially huge. But right now, this second, none of the melee minions are worth playing. So right now it's kind of useless, but that could easily change this patch. We've got way more testing to do. I mean, SRS is garbage outside of the first act or two, but like, yeah, sure. Right at the beginning, melee, the SRS will be even better right at the beginning. It's very strong during the campaign. So yes, great for that, but otherwise this will become relevant and important when we find, if we find another good melee minion, right? This will be great when / if that happens. This is what the cocaine ants were missing for me to actually like them. I know Gazzy was like all about the cocaine ants, I know he loved them, but they were always just worse. They were always just worse than having the zealotry guys that did Spark that I was running. The ants were just always worse. Melee Splash would fix them and make them viable competitors if they weren't already nerfed. So when we find them, when we find a new melee minion that is worth running, Melee Splash will matter then. It just doesn't matter right this second because we don't have any melee ones that are worth running. Although the Skeletal Reapers were actually pretty good in damage and they run decently fast. They just could never kill any pack of anything ever. So maybe they're worth running. We'll see. We'll see. And a support for build guides. Yeah, we know those. I'm fucking excited to play with that. I'm excited to play with that. And the ability to quickly search the trade market for items you have by shift alt clicking on an item to populate the search filter in the trade market. I'm gonna be honest, it's great that you've done this. I'm going to keep using Woke Trade. There's just no way that you've done as good of a job of it as Woke Trade is doing. I just don't believe it. But I'm really happy that you've done this because there should be a fucking option for people that isn't running extra programs on your computer. We're all used to it. Experienced long-term PoE players are so used to it that it doesn't even strike it doesn't even like appear as a problem to download a third-party program for PoE anymore. But it shouldn't be like that. And it is also definitely a hard point for new players when they're like, ew, you want me to download like 3 fucking third-party programs just to run it? And then the console players and like all that sort of shit, like having this in game is very good. I'm probably going to keep using the macro because I imagine it's doing a better job, but I'll try it. And either way, I'm still really happy about it because this is like basic functionality you need to trade, and everyone should have had access to that. So very good. Huge W, I call that. That's a good W. In party play, you can now quickly revive any fallen members after defeating the boss. Okay. You can now skip dialogue sequences with NPCs by pressing escape. Yo, guess who's never listening to NPC dialogues ever again? Is this guy. Huge W. Thank you. I'll skip all of them. Cheers. Added a reforging bench. Sure. Continue to. Yep. That's like an hour off the campaign time alone. It's at least 30 or 40 minutes off my campaign time. Maybe an hour. You know, I might have said that as part of a joke, but it's at least 30 or 40 minutes. Okay, we went through the changes there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm real tempted to start gemling. I'm real tempted to start gemling. Like, it can be a blaster, it can do grenades really well, it's down there. Like, it's very tempting. Added 19 new companion themed support skills to the passive tree. Yo, you've got more support for companions than you have for generic minions. Just here. No, you don't understand. This is trash. This isn't actually for minions, and neither is that. So there's 1. This is resistance, and it just doesn't count. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and those are hidden ones. Those aren't real. I guess technically 6, but no one's ever making it down here. So there's really only 5 wheels for minions that are usable at the top here. So if that's, yeah, that'll be 4 wheels down here. But you missed the wheel there, right? Which one? Oh, I'm not counting the stuff that's like these ones that are from, because they're from the weird ascendancy. So I didn't count that one or this one or that bit or this bit, because they're all like part of the or this one, because they're all part of that different ascendancy. They're not like on the tree. They're not actually there. I mean, I counted this one. All right, there's either 4 or 5 minion wheels that are like usable, right? Here's the thing. There's already... Okay, so this one isn't. This is for you if there's a companion in your presence. This is for companions, so 1. This is for companions, so 2. This is defense for companions, and I didn't count the defense wheel up there, so I'm not going to count that one. So 2, 3. So there's already 3. There's already 3 here. So if we're adding 3 more, there's at least as much support on the tree. Maybe 1 wheel extra. At least equal though. I'm not counting this one because I also didn't count the defense one up here, right? So just to be fair, I'm not counting either of those. Then that means we're going to end up with similar support to that. Cool. 9 new life reco passes on the, yep, cool. Archon of Undeath cluster to the, added a new Archon of Undeath. Okay, I don't know what that does. The Ancestral Bond Keystone now causes placing totems to have no cost and not require consuming charges to place, but still causes the totem to reserve 75 spirit each. Now doubles the totem limit instead of removing it completely. Interesting. Have no cost and not require consuming charges. Okay. I actually kind of love totems. Wait. Huh. Now I kind of want to do that. The Trusted Kinship Keystone passive now grants 30% more reservation and efficacy of companion skills and 20% less of non-companion skills. It no longer provides you have 30% less defense, or companions have +1 to each defense for every 2 defense you have. Okay. Buff the totem limit anyway. There's like 3 or 4 nodes on the tree that buff the totem limit. Oh. Valpact Keystone passive skill now grants 50% more amount of life leached and 67% less life leech speed. So the same cap, but you only have to hit half as hard to do it. Ew. Oh, and life leech effects are not removed when unreserved life is full, but not instant anymore. Or cannot use flasks. but you still cannot recover life from anything other than leech. But there's no instant on it either. Interesting. I don't know how that's gonna go. The formed barrier cluster has been removed, whatever. The flash cluster has been moved locations and no longer connects to a dual socket. Sure, whatever. Everything no longer connects to a dual socket, that's fine. Grants 100% increase. Oh yeah, cool. Cool. The arcane mixture now grants 10% increased cast speed if you used a mana flask recently, instead of 25% increased energy shield recharge rate. Sure. Bastion of the Forest now, sure. Casting Cascade notable now grants 6% for 8 seconds, previously 4, sure. The Chakra of Breathing notable now grants 20% faster start of charge instead of 1% increased recharge rate before dexterity, sure. Commanding notable now grants 2% increased minion attack speed per 5 rage, previously 1% per rage. That's actually a significant nerf, is it not? I'm not gonna lie, this was already not good before you nerfed it. That's weird. Maybe the new companions were too OP. We couldn't let minions have a good go, so gotta hit that first. Anyway, new notable now grants 20% faster start, previously 40, and 10% reduced energy shield recharge rate, previously 15, sure. Well, passive build now grants 20% reduced energy shield, previously 100%. Oh, sure, okay. Didn't say, was that not good? I mean, like, technically it was good, but like, the minions that used rage by default weren't good enough to use anyway, and there were no ways to give any of the maybe potentially usable minions rage to begin with. So it was already kind of trash just because it wasn't able to be used. And more notable now grants 25 energy when you block, previously 20. Okay, sure. Everyone's talking about running the monkey companion. I'm the only one that thinks about it. Oh yeah, no, the monkey's going to be hilarious. And it'll be the first major thing that you grab. But it won't be an endgame one. There are so many better options. Unless you're doing it just because giant monkey with pillar funny, which is valid. Critical spell bonus. Okay, sure. Whatever. Deadly forces now increase crit rate 15 instead of 10, but only 15% increased damage in the past 8 seconds, previously 25. Whatever, sure. The dependable ward node now grants 8 chaos and 12% faster start of energy shield. Okay, they're really hitting faster start of energy shield everywhere. Votive protection notable now grants 10% faster, previously 15. They're hitting that a lot. Use echo spells at 25% and no longer grants the final P, which did not function. Okay. This is getting rough. Like they're really messing up energy shield recharge builds quite a bit, but that's okay. We'll just do recoup instead. Anyway. Blah, 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 blah. Now grants 12% faster instead of 30. 12% faster in 12 int, previously 10. No longer has 40% recharge rate. Jesus, they're not gotten the recharge rate as well. Yeah, that's exactly the one. No, we'll just make recoup builds unless they also hit recoup. Recoup was probably either equal or slightly in front of recharge rate and speed stacking. I just preferred recharge rate and speed stacking because the recoup stuff felt a bit too cheesy for me. But I'll do the recoup thing if that's the only one you leave decent. Plus, I don't even have to be a chronomancer for it anymore, so that's, yeah, fantastic. And 10%, sure. Okay. It does mean that that chest will be expensive, because all the ES lovers will want that chest. I certainly do. Right, it now provides 10% chance to days, sure. And it prevents increased damage, sure, whatever. The vicious notable passive no longer grants 20% of life and is instant. It now grants 15% increased attack speed while leeching. Yo. Where's all my instant? Have they taken all the instant leech away? What the fuck? When I keep reading, are the gloves gonna be in here too? Or are we just mandating the gloves? Because I never liked wearing the gloves. I liked getting instant other ways. But like if they left the gloves alone, then passes, blah blah blah. Ah, good. The first two small damage passives in the Witch and Sorceress now provide 10% instead of 8. Cool. Small passive skills that grant faster start of energy shield recharge now have values of 6, previously 15. Yo, they're fucking murdering energy shield out here. Which, like, kind of fair. But can we also, like, buff life at the same time? Because it's not that I don't want to make a life build. It's that life's fucking unplayable. And so I only had one option. And we're gonna nerf the shit out of my energy shield, that's fine. But can we also buff life? Damage Feast Jewel no longer grants 20% is instant either, and now grants 35% faster. Okay, sure. Skills with fixed numbers of projectiles, such as Glacial Lance, can now benefit from effects that cause multiple projectile counts modifiers to apply to something else, such as Ricochet 3. Okay. Skills which have a cost of 0 mana now display that cost, allowing the player to distinguish between skills like default attack, which do not have a cost at all, or those that have a base cost but have been reduced to 0. Sure, okay. Crossbow munition skills now have a base cost of 0, rather than having their cost completely disabled, meaning that effects that add additional costs now apply to them. Okay, I don't know what the interaction was that was targeting, but sure. Okay. Ignites inflicted on targets by oily ground that has been ignited can no longer compound and cannot be compounded with by other ignites. Oh, okay. All command skills now have 50% movement speed penalty during use, previously 70. Interesting. Paint has modifies the cooldown recovery rate, also apply to visage appearance frequency. Okay, cool. Ancestral Warrior Totem no longer has a hidden 0.6 second delay between skill use. Instead, this delay is now 50% of the skill's attack time and is described according to the skill. Ah, okay. It didn't have a plus flat attack time, so it's just going to be your weapon, and the faster it goes, the better. Okay. It might as well leave PB open. Good point. Let's just drag that off to the other side. There's no reason I'm gonna be looking again for sure. Bonestone no longer has the sustain tag. Okay, I really don't know what that does. Bone Shatter's quality is just less attack speed than it used to be. Yeah, that makes sense. Bone Shatter melee was actually too strong. That's fine. Comet now deals less damage, scaling up to... Okay, so they've taken like, what, 6% less cold damage? Fire Infused Comet is getting... Oh. Up to... Okay, I mean, Fire Infused Comet's like 30% less, but honestly, we weren't even using that. Honestly, this is not a big deal for Comet on its own. I don't know how the fuck we're gonna maintain the amount of life that costs, though. That's not... I don't know how we're gonna do that. Look, I don't think we are. You're right, it was getting used. You're right, but I don't know if you needed to nerf Comet, because I don't know how the fuck we're gonna sustain Comet anymore. There's probably other ways though. There's probably other ways. Yeah, something like that. Red Fan no longer have movement speed penalties. And the aura base radius is 6 meters. Cool. Earthquake Aftershock now deals more damage. I don't actually think this was the problem. The problem is how long that fucking Aftershock takes. Yeah, the banner thing is real nice. Okay, sure. Fortifying Cry can now only consume 1 stack when you detonate Shield Wall to create a shockwave around Shield Wall segments. Fortifying Cry shockwave from a single Shield Wall cannot hit the same enemy multiple times. Shield Wave now deals 5 to 7 physical instead of 6 to 8. Yeah, that was one of the most OP builds, right? It definitely wasn't fucking lightning arrow or spark or anything like that. It was definitely the guys who were willing to put down 3 copies of shield wall and then shout to kill 1 pack in front of them. They were the problem. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, sure. Ooh, fragmentation rounds now grants up to 2 fragments per shot instead of just more physical damage. I don't know if that's good or bad. Freezing salvo now has more chill magnitude. Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a more multiplier, so like that's hard to lose. Gathering Storm now causes perfectly timed dash to explode any temper spell on hit, creating massive shockwave that deals up to 800% damage. The shock round left by the temper shockwave with a radius of, okay, hitting area combo. Perfect timed shockwaves can now only hit enemies once per skill use and no longer interact with objects created by non-temper spell skills. Shockwave limit is now 50. Quality now provides a 20% longer perfect timing window. The intervals between gaining ghost shrouds is no longer a duration and now have modifiers to cooldown recovery rate. Okay. Now also has when hit lose a ghost shroud and regenerate energy shield equal to 2% of your evasion rating per second if you have lost a ghost shroud recently. Now gains a ghost shroud every 10.1 seconds instead of 6.1 seconds. That's long. Morning. Grim Resurrection now has a 1 second cooldown. Grim Feast rather now has a 1 second cooldown. Sure. Ice Shards no longer have 20% more freeze buildup. Is that all you did to Ice Shot? Because great. Ice Shot, fine. Ice Shot's fine still. The Ghost Dance is a bit rough for them, but multiple lightning beams are no longer able to be chained onto the same target. Okay, so lightning arrow is gone, but Ice Shot was fine. You can move beams are no longer considered melee. Sure. Magma Barrier now deals less damage. Yeah, Magma Barrier, that was a problem. Mirage Archer and Mirage Deadeye can now be used with channeled skills, including Snipe, Plasma Blast, and Detonate Arrow. Ah, yes. Archer buffs. Yo. Archer buffs. That is exactly what we wanted. That's what we needed. Bows were actually a little bit weak. They weren't clearing fast enough either. What we really wanted was to be able to put fucking Plasma Blast on them. That'll do it. Oil Barrage's mana cost has been reduced. Now has mana cost per second equivalent to the initial mana cost of Barrage. Sure. It was too hard. Now Mirage does that for them. Needed to help the less fortunate. Yep. Crazy. Poison Burst Arrow. Poison duration is now 3 seconds at all gem levels. Previously up to 4.9. quality bonuses. Is Poison Burst Arrow, was that OP? I didn't. Okay, sure. Pounce now has a decently longer cooldown, 5.1 instead of 4. That's okay. Ravenous Swarm now has monster cool and has cooldown recovery rate, expects spawning frequency. Sure. Rend fixes a bug where lightning charged Rend was scaling twice with levels. The base damage has been increased to compensate. Sure. Rolling Magma now chains 3 times at gem level 1, previously 2 times, scaling up to 5 times, previously 4. I mean, sure, but like, it's still rolling magma and I don't want to. Ooh, Rolling Slam now has +1 second to total attack time, previously 1.5. The first slam now deals less damage. Yes, yes. You hit them like that. That's a good amount less damage too. And the second slam now deals, wow, significantly less damage. Yeah, all right. Oh god, what was this one? Hold on.
Oh, Rolling Sam was good like, I don't want to hear any, oh, Rolling Sam was good to nuke bosses, whatever, when I have
It's nearly
3,000
silent.
fucking divine worth of gear and I'm just fucking, yeah, not every fucking skill you can do that shit with Mace Strike. Like, who the fuck cares? That doesn't make a skill good. It literally doesn't matter, no one fucking cares. Fucking go ahead, next time Rolling Sam, I'm gonna fucking watch you next time Rolling Sam and see your fucking one-tap bosses like 5 hours into your fucking... Shut the fuck up. Stop with that fucking argument. It's PoE 2. PoE 2 is a baby game where items are OP, so it doesn't matter. Once you play Trade League and you go into the end game, have infinite gear, it doesn't matter what skill you play.
I was thinking Rolling Slam got buffed. I mean, only for the rich. That's like, it already wasn't that strong unless you were Giga geared. And if you're Giga geared, you're still gonna one tap anything anyway. So like, yeah, it kind of got buffed for like the Giga geared people, but like for your average person, that's ruined. That's kind of ruined. But let's get rid of more of this anyway. It also really depends. Like, if it's still enough to jump into at least a white pack and just one shot the white pack, if it's still enough damage for that, then it'll feel like a buff. But if it's not enough damage for that, it's suddenly worthless. Now 50% less damage of ailments you inflict. No longer have life leaves from explosions with at least. Okay, sure. Ah yes, shred quality now grants 20% increased attack speed instead of 10% more. Snipe now deals a little bit less damage with the explosion of, oh, no, with more. Okay. Icy Blast is now 367 instead of 3000 and I'm sorry. Yeah, sure. That's fine. Now has 50% more damage with hits and explosions originating from a unique enemy. Previously always 50. And the radius has come down a bit. Okay. Sure. Spell Totem can now be used while moving. Supercharged slam now more clearly states that a fixed attack time. Sure. Team Beast. Summon Beasts now deal 40% more damage at gem level 9, scaling up to 84% at gem level 20. Now immediately summons newly tamed beasts if you have enough spirit. Tempest Bell can now be ancestrally boosted as though it were a strike skill, and the maximum number of active bells has increased to 3, previously 1, greatly improving its combo potential. Its shockwave now deals 119% of attack damage instead of 132. You can trigger once every 0.3 instead of 0.25. I mean, okay, but with 3 of them down, that's way more. Toxic Growth now fires 5 pustules, previously 4. Okay. With a limit of 5 pustules, previously 12. Okay. Quantity now goes fires +1 and limit +1. Okay. So you get quality and you can fire 6, but you only fire it once. That's it. That's it. There is no more. Okay, sure. Volcano now has a base crit of 8%, previously 5. Okay. Ah yes, Whirling Assault has 20% increased attack speed instead of more. Fantastic. Okay, sure. Ooh, okay. Unleash, expand, salvo, freezing salvo supports. Now use the same contact with steel. They have their own version, sure. Whatever. Advancing Storm can now support any storm skill under any condition rather than only spells you use yourself. That's interesting. What? What was that? Okay, back. Okay, sure. What else we got? Okay. Oh, Jesus. Now grants 25% chance to load a crossbow instead of previously 50. Sure. I don't actually remember what that did, but sure. Each T range you have, you and your allies will get 1% damage as cold for 15 seconds. For every 2 rage you have, 1% for 15 seconds. Previously for 1 rage for 20 seconds. Okay. Rink 1 can now be cut as a level 1 support gem. What the fuck is that? Okay. Sure. Yep. People were really salty about the metal. Oh yeah, yeah. I haven't done really a lot of crossbow stuff, so I don't know how impactful that is, but or I don't even know if people are using it. Memory count loss. All right, sure. Corrupting cry 1 and 2 no longer cause the supported skills to inflict corrupted blood, but instead it triggers a skill which inflicts corrupting blood, scaled by the level of the gem it is socketed into. Okay. Huh. What? Anyway. Next, no longer supports the curse to inflict decay. Instead, it triggers a skill which inflicts decay, scaled by the level of the gem. Okay. I don't know what the point of this change is, but okay. Diala's desire now grants 5% quality, previously 10. Sure. Dowagery's undoing no longer causes cursed ground to become hazardous. Now causes cursed ground by supported skill to spawn witch toads on an interval which will seek out enemies and explode. I mean, I don't. In PoE 1, these suck. They suck so bad, and it's really disappointing. Hopefully they're cool in PoE 2, because I would actually love to make another Dowagery's Undoing build with toads. That would be very cool. Alright, Infernal Legion now grants minions have 10% of their maximum life as fire per second, previously 20. And minions from with a radius of 1.2 meters as though dealing 10%, previously 20. Okay, so Infernal Legion gutted. Infernal Legion 2, 10%, previously 20. Radius of 2 meters, but 10%, previously 20. Now also gives the minion 20 fire res. Infernal Legion 3 can no longer be obtained. Okay. No longer replaces minions when summoning new ones. Okay, cool. Living lightning, good. That's good. Can we support any storm? Ooh. This Tempest can now support any storm skill under any conditions, rather than only ones you use yourself. Yay. I really enable the boost seems untouched. Yep. Infernal Legion was doing way too much damage. I'm gonna be honest. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I mean, it may have been bugged and dealing more damage than they intended. It wasn't that good. Everyone now probably describes it cannot. Sure. No longer supports the yep, but instead triggers one that inflicts corrupting blood. Sure. No longer has 2% of maximum life per corrupting blood inflicted. Now has supported skill cost 10% maximum life each time they've been used, up to 30%. Okay. Rage 1, 2, and 3 can now support minion skills. Okay. Okay. Now grant supported skills load 4 bolts when you die, previously 5. And supported skills load 3 additional bolts. No, okay, sure. And less attack speed. Yep, sure. And additional deflection rating, sure. Shock Conduit 2 can no longer be obtained. Oh. Oh, the Always Drench is gone. That's sad. I'm sad about that one. Blah blah blah. Can clarify that it triggers from shocking hits. Yeah, except it doesn't always, but sure. Now grants +2 levels of supported skills of exactly 2 other supports, previously 3. Okay, so small nerf. Levels of exactly 1 other support is modifying them, previously +3. Okay, nerf to both of them a little bit, but that's fine. Now grants supported skills gain 2. Vault now grants get 2 charges per meter traveled, previously 3. 1% damages lightning, previously 5% per vault charge. Yo, that's gross, but okay, sure. It was so broken in season 3 that's still getting nerfs 0.5. Right? Oh, previously 5% per 10. Wait. Now gain 1% per charge consumed, previously 5% per 10 charge. Oh. No, okay. A little bit harder to build the vault charges, but better vault charges. Okay. That's cool. Zeri's Security Gloves have been reworked. They now grant 200% increased armor, 150 to maximum life leech, 10% of physical attack damage as life, and 10% of physical damage dealt by your hits causes blood loss and Val Pact. They also grant the Herald of the 3 Vol allocations have also been changed. Yo, okay. So that's the last hope for Leech, sure. I don't even know what those boots are, but they no longer get less movement speed and skill speed per dodge roll. Sure. Goodbye, all instant leech. Yep. The Black Flame unique ring no longer has enemies ignited by chaos, take chaos damage instead of fire. It now has withers you inflict also increase fire damage taken. Ignite you inflict deals chaos damage instead of fire damage. And wither does not expire on enemies ignited by you. Interesting. Additionally, it now has 80 to 100% ignite magnitude, previously 50, and 60 to 75% reduced ignite duration. Ew. Okay, well, interesting actually. Single unique ring has fire damage also contributes to bleed magnitude, and bleed damage you inflict deals fire damage instead of physical damage in addition to other modifiers. Okay. A bleed fire build is interesting. Brass Dome now has less armor, presumably because the base got upgraded and has more armor. Carnage Heart now has 50% increased damage while leeching. Sure. The Chopper Mace now has... Sure. Death's Harp unique bow no longer fires 3 additional arrows. Instead now has 250 to 330% surpassing chance for an additional arrow. Okay, sure. The Elevor unique helmet now grants 1 charge per second, previously half a charge. And now provides 1 to 2 charm slots. Okay, sure. The Ishna's Path unique ring no longer has cold resistance, is unaffected by area penalty. It now has plus 5 to 10 to fire and cold resist per equipped item with a lightning resist modifier. Okay, that's actually interesting. 10% to fire and cold per equipped item that has a lightning resist modifier. What else does that ring do? It doesn't exist in Path of Building anyway. Path of Building doesn't know what that does. How old is that? Oh, good question, actually. I haven't updated it in a while. What was it? Esh Terror. Nope, doesn't exist. Is a new name for the Sekima rings? Oh, right. So they're just rarity, all res, and you get a dual socket. Rarity, all attributes, rather, and you get a dual socket. And it used to just make you ignore area penalties, which is the equivalent of 60 res. If you get a max roll one here, that's 10% fire and cold per equipped item with lightning, which means like to get that equivalent res, you only need 3 pieces that have lightning res on them, and you've got the equivalent amount of res. And then anything after that is a bonus. Maybe? Maybe. Wait. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? The mask now grants the Asthma Experience Guardian, allowing you to... It now also has remnants you create affect allies in your presence as well when you collect them. This is what I really need to know, if my minions will consume the remnants, because if I can give my minions remnants and have them use them, that would be fucking huge. And or it now gains right of whatever non-unique flasks apply their effect constantly, but cannot use life flasks. Recovery from life flask cannot be applied to anything other than you. That's an interesting one. I don't know how that will be. Which minion build be? I'm not a PoE math expert. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it was okay in 0.4 or 0.3 or 0.2. But if you're just comparing it to the past, yeah, it'll be fine and maybe even a little better. Maybe even a little bit better. Yeah, not BalorMage. But which minion builds? Sure. Now has whatever. The Leviathan Unique Ring no longer has +1 level to lightning. It now has lightning skills chain. Cool. Megalomaniac unique jewels now drop identified. That's one way to fix that problem. For anyone wondering, this has been an ongoing problem. What you could do is you could buy, say, 300 megalomaniacs that were unidentified, ID them all in a single session, pull out the really good ones, and then crash the server. And then it would roll back your whole thing. And you wouldn't take out the good ones. You just remember what position they were in. And then you crash and the instance and roll back the server, and then you just ID the good one that was good, you pull it out of your stash, and you put fucking 59 shit ones back up for the same price you paid for them. And that's why getting megalomaniacs was so fucking hard and so fucking expensive, is because that's what people were doing with them. Having them all drop identified means you can't fucking do that anymore. That is one way to fix that problem. Yep, that'll do it. It now has a 25% chance to deal your thorn damage to enemies hit with melee attacks. Okay, sure. The Radiant Grief unique helmet now has enemies in your presence are ignited as though dealing 200 base fire damage, previously 100. I don't think that's enough, but sure. Yep, same thing, but for the other ring. Anything else cool? Ew. This thing no longer has enemies immobilized you by you take 20% more damage. Instead, it's 50% increase to damage. Gross. The Soul Mantle unique body armor no longer has the reduced totem life. It now has plus 75 to spirit, which is 1 extra totem. And the totem curse yourself thing. Interesting. Could be cool. The Svalin's unique shield cast on block skill now has supported skills cost nothing. It also now has runic ward. It's the first on-hit build in PvE2 that does not scale with weapon damage or added damage. Interesting. That could be cool. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Greater and perfect currencies have been made somewhat rarer, with transmutations and augmentations being significantly rarer. Sure. Greater orbs now have a minimum modifier level of 44, previously 55, making them more accessible. Okay, but you've just made them significantly less accessible. Divine orbs are now more common. Ah, yes, because I mean, sure. I mean, divine orbs were like thousands and thousands of chaos, so I guess, sure. The real problem is lack of chaos sinks, but whatever. That's one way to do it. The corruption outcome that randomizes the numeric values of modifiers on an item beyond the normal range now multiplies each modifier based on the current value instead of randomizing the value. Oh no! So all your low rolled, all your low rolled uniques are back to being completely worthless. You have to pick up really good ones and then only vial the really good ones, which also makes the good rolled ones more expensive. So just everything more expensive. Okay. But hey, you have more divines now? True. That's what we needed, a divine sync. Wait, hold on. Now multiplies each modifier value based on the current one. Sure. Omen of corruption can no longer be obtained. Okay. Martial weapons and flasks found in the campaign are now more likely to be the highest base type available in that weapon. Good. Available at that level, rather. The overall number of essences found in the campaign has been increased. Nice. Though the proportion of these essences of the infinite have been significantly decreased, this will end up leading to more useful essences as you progress. Cool. Granted by item modifiers has been increased to higher level. At 65, you should have approximately 33% more armor, tapering down to 15% at level 80. Yo, that needs to be 150% at level 80. Just throwing it out there. Your armor calculation fucking sucks. The amount of energy shield granted by items is now roughly 8% more at level 65 and unchanged at level 80. Sure. Modifiers on existing items can be updated with a divine orb. Sure. Increase the base weapon range of some martial weapon base types. One-handed maces now have a range of 1.3 instead of 1.1. 1.5 for two-handed maces, previously 1.3, and 1.4 for quarterstaves, previously 1.3. Sure. The obliteration bow and artillery bow base now have 1.1 attack speed, previously 1.15. Yep, huge. That's big change. That's going to really impact the meta. The implication, blah blah blah. Now is a 20%, 25 to 35% chance to chain an additional time. Previously 20 to 30. Okay. Now have only 10 maximum range on those things instead of 12. That's fine. More shock magnitude on the shock talismans. Alternate quality items from breach catalysts may now be salvaged to return a portion of the catalysts used. Okay. Ooh. Plus level of melee skills, projectile skills for two-handers, lowered to +5 instead of +7. I don't think that does anything. I mean, I know it does, like losing 2 levels hurts, but it's still going to put +5 levels as the mandatory suffix on every weapon. It used to be +7, now it's +5. It's still mandatory. One-handeds go to 4. Sure. The +2 on quivers is now +1. That hurts. That actually hurts quite a bit. especially for the spell using people who were, you know, doing that. Plus level of all attack gems on attack weapons can now only roll at above level 18. Ah, good. Act 1 and 2 nerfs. That's what we wanted. A suppressing chance to fire additional arrow modifiers for quivers. Cool. Well, now provides +3 and +2 on. Yep. Okay. Cool. Sure. Essence of Hysteria now is only 23. Yep. More nerfs to that. Yo. Body runes buffed though. 60 maximum life instead of 40. 50 maximum energy shield instead of 35. 5% leech instead of 3. Cool. Oh, is this just across the board? Are all the runes just slightly better than they used to be? It does look like it. Okay, so they're all doing the same thing. Oh, except those, which used to just add flat damage, and now they add it against a chilled or frozen or against shocked or whatever. Those are changed. All idols can now also be socketed into scepters. Curse duration now grants cost efficacy 15% cost efficacy in a helmet instead of 12. 30% increased mana recovery rate when your companion is in your presence with a scepter. Sure. Now grant Idol of Grold now grants 15% increased damage for each different companion in your presence when socketed into a scepter. Okay. 2 charges per second, sure. 40% increased armor invasion while an enemy is in your presence, sure. Ooh. Now grants allies in your presence have 8% increased movement speed. Okay. I like that. Because we're going to be Spear and Scepter. Are we? Are we going to be Spear and Scepter? And not one-handed Mace and Scepter? You get Shield Charge, you get Leap Slam. Oh, you don't get Shield Charge, you just get Leap Slam. Yeah, not early. Any good stuff for minions? Minions may be slightly buffed, but companion minions are looking really good. I wasn't gonna play any minion build, and now I'm gonna start companions. And I'm gonna hate it again. It's gonna be a bait. It's gonna bait. I've been baited. I'm on the hook. Ooh. We need companion martial arts shenanigans. At least you have a plan. I know, but it's a plan I didn't want. Modify. This is a free 200% you didn't have before. That's already super buffed. I guess it depends on how high they roll and how useful they are. So yeah, minions will be buffed. Minions will be better. I don't know how much better, but the companions seem much cooler to me. What are we thinking about patch notes? Overall, pretty good. I think we need to host an intervention for whoever it is at GDG who really, really, really likes the ghost mechanic, which in PoE2 is Atziri Wisps. We need to, like, there's an intervention that needs to happen there. Cat Idol now has, sure. Fox Idol now has a limit of 1. Now grants other socketed items in this one also grant their bonded modifier. Okay. Was not there before. Not take, deal, right? Yeah, Fox seems cool. Allies in your presence have 10% increased cast speed in scepters. Okay. It's now 12%. Okay, cool. Cool. Image when shocked. Rabbit Idol now has a limit of 1. It now grants 12% increased rarity of items found when socketed in body armors, previously 5. And 15% increased spirit when socketed in scepters. Previously 10. 15%? But it now has a limit of 1. Damage is almost double damage from fucking nowhere. Okay, but they were dealing like 6 DPS before, so hopefully with the all of the changes combined, with our powers combined, anyway, hopefully. Okay, allies in your presence gain attack speed, sure. Stag has a limit of 1. Now 15% chance to fork when socketed in a helmet. Previously 50% increased thorn critical hit chance. Okay. Ooh, the Wolf Idol now grants allies in your presence 20% increased crit damage. Okay. Gross. Maximum rage on ruby jewels can now roll to +2. Increased chaos damage in sapphire jewels, got a little bit extra, sure. It was just fun. I don't want to see you get baited again. I'm for sure baited again. It's terrible. Don't do what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I seriously don't think GDG is capable of making a competitive minion build. This is a bait. You shouldn't do it. I'm gonna do it. I can't help myself. What if I'm wrong? What if it's really good? I gotta try. I can't help it. Just Vinegar minions the whole way. I don't know. I'll figure that out this week. Suffix modifiers granting energy shield recharge can no longer roll on foci, intelligence, body armors, or jewels. Get fucked some more. Ah yes, I know what those all are.
My name's Deckard Cain, and I come from Tristram. If you're looking for Diablo, then you just missed him.
I'm sorry, this is Deckard Cain rap? What the fuck is going on here?
If you find old Griswold, then you can take him down, but you'll get no reward till you come back to town. Thanks for my life. I like
Okay, what else you got?
Journey on, then it's gonna get tough.
Does accuracy modifier now have minimum levels?
Friend, here's the road.
Sure.
You'll find that it's blocked because Andario's a beast. Greetings.
What's going on? Oswald no longer undercuts you for priceless idols in Act 3. Now offering you 3,000, 4,000, and 6,000 gold. You know what? That actually makes it worth picking them up. What the hell are you listening to? The full Diablo 2 soundtrack, but apparently there's a Deckard Cain rap at the end of it. I wasn't expecting that.
My name is Deckard Cain, and I've come on out to greet you. So sit your ass and listen, or I'm gonna have to beat you. If I don't know the answer, then go ask Mala. She's a
Culling strike threshold is now 35% for normal instead of 30. Monster leech resistance now starts at a later level, and values are lower at every level. All monster rarities now have the same amount of leech resistance. Okay. Essence monster packs are now affected by pack size. Sure. Gross. Who cares? Beam from the Priest of Sun will no longer ignore some walls. Okay, didn't know it did that. You will now refill some flask charges when the soldiers constrict the side of an area. Okay, cool. The burning dead of the village now deal a person to their damage as fire. Previously it was purely physical. The burning dead in the Okar village were dealing purely physical dot damage? The burning guys who hit you with fire were doing pure physical damage over time.
I'm old and a little bit ornery. I look like Patrick Stewart and sound like Sean Connery.
I shouldn't be doing any physical.
Throw your hands in the air. Wave them like you just don't.
Alright, whatever. Link to Plunzel's point until you've turned in. Sure. You can now receive greater mind rule runes in the hall, previously lessers. Cool. You know, supposed to be a third ascendancy, but whatever. You no longer have to visit the gates in order to get to Trader's Passage if you've already freed Rizu. Oh, that's the name of the NPC that's trapped in the cage. Right. Good. Added accessibility to increase the size of pop-ups. Or what about decreasing them? Added a dedicated keybind to perform a dodge roll, which will not cause the player to sprint when held down. It is unbound by default and must be manually assigned in the input options if you wish to use it. I actually love that, but can I also have a button that lets me sprint without dodge rolling? Just separate those buttons. That's exactly what I did, right? Just separate those buttons. They're different things. They're different things, and I want them to be different things. Option to the hideout decoration, sure. Need to move while channeling a skill that can be used while moving will no longer interrupt the channel. This significantly includes frame breath. Oh, sure. Improved visual clarity. I'll be the fucking judge of that. You haven't managed to do this in the last 14 years. I don't know why you'd write it in a patch note like you've done it now. Load times and performance of Act 1 to 3 and world maps. Great. Cool. Just they've made to more accurately reflect the in-game direction of area layouts. That's also cool. Skill information pop-outs are no longer modifying stats in the top panel. Sure. The notification that shows you when an item in the merchant tab has sold now displays a different message when the sold item is in a different league. Okay, sure. How about this? Nice. The reroll button on the ritual you now pulses when you have a free rerolls available. Ah, I love it when it pulses. Tells me I'm doing a good job. Wait, what? Empowered minions from various modifiers and sources. Now update the text of the minion displayed on the monsters. Sure, cool. The augments stash tab has been updated to have 5 sections. Okay, there might just be too many augments, but okay. Marking an enemy now shows the mark on their life bar. Cool. Maximum rage, loss decay, and rage loss are now displayed in the character panel. Cool. Increases the maximum character limit of search text boxes to 250. Yo, it was the recent change where you made that bigger. I'm gonna be honest, that was already big enough for every regex I've ever tried. What kind of regexes can I get with 250? That's insane. I mean, it's probably up to 250 now so that you don't technically need a regex. Right? You could use like normal words. Copying an item text now always copies it in the advanced description format. Cool. You can now set the favorite trades. You can now pin the tracking scroll to your social profile to display to your friends, guild, and party members. The increase was only made to PoE 1. Oh, right. Okay. They're just bringing the same thing over. Yep. Well, I'm going to do that. We're doing that. We're all doing this, right? And pin that tracking scroll to the social profile. Let everyone see how fucking poor I am in PoE 2. Let me pin my pilfering ring. Yeah, that too. Added a top-down camera view for editing your hideout when using a controller. Just when you've got a controller? Oh, you can now preview microtransaction weapon skins in the cosmetic shop without needing it. Yep. Only for the controller. What the fuck, right? I mean, that's not as egregious as the thing that's currently only controller, which if anyone plays Minions and you didn't see it, we made this discovery 2 leagues ago and it is still the case. With the controller UI, you can specifically designate minions that will not get targeted by your offerings. You can only select those options in the controller UI. So you can go ahead and select all the minions you don't want to be offering with a controller UI on, and then you can change back to the normal keyboard and mouse, and you cannot offering those minions. So you're leaving like only the warrior minions that are coming from your scepter available or whatever. And you can only do that if you have a controller to plug in and use the controller UI for it. That does not exist in the computer version. But as long as you set them with a controller, it works forever. Why didn't you type bug and make a forum post? I made a YouTube.
Hey look, that's your bike over the road.
Over, I think it was 84 months. Bug fix will make it PS5 exclusive. Yep. Updates and restructure to the option menu, sure. Enabled the following armor sets. Ones I care about aren't there. Ones I care about aren't there. Okay, I'm not reading through the bug fixes. That's too many. People blank. Nope. Buried in link powers. Added 3 fluxes which can be crafted in remnants to transform the resistance of your item from one to another. Nice. That's good. That's exactly what I wanted. The ability to swap res is amazing. Oh, okay. Well, all right. That's an interesting list. That is an interesting list. It is late today. I've had a big day of doing shit in person. We're gonna start probably like practicing and running PoE 2 and making an actual plan tomorrow. Is there anything actually good? Honestly, most of it is actually good. Almost all of it is actually pretty good. I've been baited. I'm gonna start minions again. I fucking can't believe they've done it to me again. I'm on the hook. I mean, there's a lot of nerfs, but a lot of nerfs are to the things that deserved nerfs. Mostly. Except if you're Khan, then you kind of did get a little bit fucked. But, you know. Is it just straight up? Yep. I think this depends on what's nerfed. Yeah, like I said, it's mostly nerfed, or the heavy nerfing was to all of the things that I would have thought should get heavily nerfed. So we're like, I'm mostly happy with it. No buffs to life in general to compensate all the ES nerfs, but the nerfs overall, good. All right. Including bringing this up as well for gear, at least. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it overall. I'm calling it a day. This was always going to be only a short stream. I didn't actually expect it to be like more than 2.5 hours, but apparently there's a lot of league notes, a lot of patch notes. I'm gonna head to bed. We might even try and start early tomorrow if I can. And we'll get to making an actual rough plan at least. We don't have a tree, so I can't make a solid plan. But we're gonna start doing a little bit of practice. I gotta get back into it. I will see everybody tomorrow. Goodbye. We could remember where we parked through, actually. Through. Goodbye.